Yeah. I'm always ready when it's game time. Hustle in my blood, I'ma make mines. Where I'm trying to go, it's gonna take time. You can earn your respect, I'ma take mine. In a lane of my own, I'm in a zone.
Hello and welcome to Going the Distance, where we share stories of faith, sports, and everything in between. So let's get into it. For the first few years of his career, Astros reliever Will Harris put baseball above everything else. But when he became a father, he had to learn to keep his priorities in order, which began with a renewed faith in Jesus Christ.
Baseball has often been described as a game where you fail more times than you succeed. But failing on the job is one thing, failing at home is another. And for Houston Astros reliever Will Harris, finding the balance between the two is a lesson he had to learn early in his career when he made the jump to the majors while learning how to be a husband and father.
Raising kids in professional baseball is not an easy thing, and so and it's not easy on the wives at home, and so having to balance, raising children, relationships with your wife, and communication. You travel a lot, so it can be more difficult if you're trying to be a rock for your family, but you're not there all the time. That can be a difficult thing.
Will debuted in the big leagues in 2012 with the Colorado Rockies, but his career didn't start off the way he wanted. I
struggled very badly. I didn't handle it well mentally. Just put a lot of pressure on myself. I felt that pressure of, I really need to start doing better here or this could end for me.
For fear of being sent back to the minors, Will devoted most of his time adjusting his curveball and cutter pitches to big league style of play. The game eventually became his #1 priority.
I think I kind of had baseball a little bit too high in the sky on a pedestal of what I wanted to be, and so when you fail at that, it's like, okay, well, what's left,
At home, his wife Caroline was learning how to be a mom, which was also challenging, especially since each of their mothers passed away.
My wife, she didn't have a lot of help. Neither one of us have mothers, so there was no grandmothers in the picture to help her in those early stages of motherhood. And, it was her first time, it was my first time, and so me not being there and being able to help her on a day-to-day basis was very difficult on her, which in turn made it difficult, on me.
To make matters worse, Will's career kept him moving. In April of 2013, he was traded to the Oakland A's, but 3 days later, he was traded again to the Arizona Diamondbacks, where he bounced back and forth to the minors. The time away from his family caused him to refocus on his priorities, especially his faith.
Just kind of took it upon myself to kind of rebuild who I was, or what was important to me, and kind of change my priorities and the pecking order of my faith, and then be a good husband and be a good dad, and then baseball would come after all of that. Me and my wife we're Christians, but I think we just kind of took it upon ourselves to maybe dive a little deeper and be better for my daughter.
Prioritizing their faith helped Will and Caroline embrace the ebb and flow of professional baseball.
We finally got to the point where it was like, whatever's going to happen, we're going to do it together. We're not going to be separated anymore. And so when I got sent down again to Reno, they came with me, and we got an apartment. I wasn't living in hotels anymore. It was like, that's wherever we're going, we're going to do it together. And we moved in our apartment, and that day, that apartment we moved into, it was underneath a billboard sign on the interstate, and it was a picture of Jesus, and it said, "Trust in the Lord." And it was one of those moments where we both saw it and was like, we're doing the right thing.
With a new perspective, Will's career began to take off. In 2015, he signed with Houston. 2 seasons later, he became a World Series champion. Now, as he heads further into this season, he understands the importance of keeping his relationship with Christ above everything else.
It's the center, man. It's the rock that it's an everlasting relationship. It's there all the time. And I think people think that like the leap of faith that you take in the Lord is like this giant canyon you have to jump over. And it's not. It's just slow steps that you can take in your faith and your Christianity, and it'll grow over time. If it's a commitment that you can make and stay true to it and have belief in it and have faith that this is the right way, your life will just be so much more fulfilled than it was before.
I love it. Will said your life will be much more fulfilled than before. Listen, some of you out there are chasing dreams with your priorities out of order. And look, I understand sacrifices have to be made on the road to success. But what are you sacrificing? Time with your family? Are you missing most of your kids' games, recitals, etc.? Are you missing dates with your spouse? Come on. No success is worth it if you have to sacrifice your loved ones to get there. You're worrying about things that you really can't control. Consider what it says in Matthew 6:33. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. So there you go. Put God first, and everything else will fall into place. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back. Well, Franco Santarello had a lot of talent in bodybuilding, but his drug addiction almost cost him his life. It wasn't until he had no other place to look for a high than up that he found what he was really searching for.
I wasn't going to be a bodybuilder. I was a football player. But this one guy talked me into going to a bodybuilding show with him, and I did. And I took a second place. And I'm like, wow, I think I'm pretty good at this. So I set my sights and you know what? I'm done with football. I'm going to be the best teenage bodybuilder in the world.
Franco Santarello did become one of the top bodybuilders in the world, gracing the covers of magazines and winning international awards. But Franco's childhood was far from an idyllic one.
What I remember about my parents fighting is it was frequent. My mom and dad fought. We didn't just hear it, the whole neighborhood heard it. It was loud and it was hurtful. And what we did as children, I would run to my room and just have this fear in me that, you know, what's gonna happen now? I mean, is somebody gonna get hurt? Is mama gonna get hurt? It instilled fear in me. And what child should have to walk around with fear in them?
Franco grew up Catholic, but says he didn't know God.
I got confirmed, baptized. I was an altar boy. My conception of God was he was a man that was hung on a cross. I didn't know that God was right here with me. The only way I knew I could really talk to God or communicate with God was through a priest.
Franco's parents eventually divorced, and it brought his insecurities to a new level.
There was a split, and my dad just kind of like took off. It was ripped a hole in my heart.
In middle school, Franco tried drugs for the first time.
There was a party going on, and my brother's friend, you know, he turned me on to a joint. It was just like something hit me where it was like, hey, I'm gonna be okay. I just kind of escaped myself.
Franco's drug use continued and escalated through high school.
It wasn't long after that we started messing around with pills, you know, speed, Quaaludes, things like that. So at 15 years I did cocaine, and immediately at that point, I mean, I was just, you know, drugs were just very common to me.
When Franco was 24, his brother became a Christian.
He knew his little brother needed Jesus because he knew the life of sin that I was living in. So he got me to church, and I identified right away that I was a sinner. I knew I needed a Savior, but my problem was I didn't want a Lord. I didn't want anybody taking over my life and surrender myself and being in control of me.
As a world-famous bodybuilder, Franco had endorsements, money, fame, and women. He also had all the drugs he wanted.
30 years old, getting ready to train for the Night of the Champions, one of the bigger bodybuilding events in the world. Met this professional wrestler, and we were working out a couple times, and he asked me if I've ever done heroin. I was like, no. He said, you want to try it? He said, it'd give you a really good workout. I'm like, why not? And that's how I got introduced to heroin. It was long after that I had a heroin overdose that killed me.
Franco was rushed to the emergency room, where he coded.
I know I was dead because when I woke up in the trauma unit, the doctor looked at me and said, you're lucky, son, we had to bring you back.
2 failed marriages and another brush with death after a heart attack were not enough to slow Franco down. But a hit-and-run accident in 2011 was.
I ran back home, got out of the car, and there's a cop sitting in the driveway, and he asked me, he goes, "Were you driving this car?" And I looked at him, and I said, "Yeah, it was me." They ran my ID and found out I had drug warrants in Ohio.
Franco was sentenced to 3 years in jail, which gave him time to reflect on his life.
So for 6 weeks, I laid in a rack in prison, crippled in fear. What in the heck happened to me? I remember I was on top of the world, to now I'm on the bottom bunk in prison. What happened to me? As my addiction went on and I crushed lives and I broke relationships and I hurt people in my path, that added to all the guilt and shame and pain.
One day, while he sat on the edge of his prison bunk, Franco prayed.
And I was like, God, I know that you're real. That's what the Catholic Church taught me, that you're real. I believe in you, but can I get some help here? I'm like, I quit. I need you. And it was at that moment, it felt like all of a sudden my hands were freed and I was able to reach my hand up out of that quicksand. And just like that, God's mighty hand came down from heaven, grabbed mine, and pulled me up. And I was able to take a breath. See, that day, God's hand was the light, love, and hope that this hopeless man needed to survive another day. And I remember him telling me, you need to read your Bible because there's freedom. You can get deliverance in God's word. You want to be set free from drugs? Read the Bible. There's strength.
Franco saw a Bible at the end of his bed. He picked it up and began reading it.
The next day I woke up, I'm like, wow, maybe I should try what I did yesterday again. So I cracked open the Bible and I went and worked out for 5 minutes again.
He began working out again and soon was using his platform to minister to other inmates.
9 months later, I was running that prison. I was doing workouts 4 hours long. I had everybody in the prison wanting to work out with me. I was running fitness programs, Bible studies. I mean, that's all that I did. Every day I said, wow, this works.
Today, Franco is free and heads Jacked Up for Jesus, a ministry that uses bodybuilding to bring people to Jesus. He tells his story in his book, Before and After.
The enemy used bodybuilding to bring me down. He used it because it became very prideful. It was able to fuel my addiction, and it just destroyed my life. God has taken that same sport and that same platform to bring back to me, to bring glory to him. I'm still an addict today, but I'm addicted to Jesus. My real, true audience is the addicts and the inmates, because that's the place where he got a hold of me. And he wants to get a hold of every inmate in the world today. And my vision statement is to encourage, motivate, inspire the broken, bound, and bruised to living a victorious and purposeful life in Christ.
Wow. You know, in Jeremiah 29:11, it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." Now, I know some of you out there might not believe that, but it's true. God does have a plan for your life. But you have to understand that there are several distractions out there that can derail and delay you from those plans. For Franco, it was drugs. For you, what is it? Is it women, men, alcohol, the spotlight? It's important to recognize those distractions when they come so that you don't prolong all that God has for you. We'll be right back right after this. Welcome back. This next story is one of resilience, patience, and love. In April of 2016, two-time Olympic high jumper Jamie Nieto was injured while demonstrating his signature back flip for a group of Olympic hopefuls. The injury caused paralysis from the chest down, and doctors predicted he'd only get back 30% of his bodily functions. But since then, he's done that and a lot more.
The book of Psalms tells us that the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delights in his way. For two-time Olympic high jumper Jamie Nieto, it's a passage he marches to every day. In April of 2016, he suffered a back injury while trying to demonstrate a back flip he'd done hundreds of times. The injury caused paralysis from the chest down.
That moment when I hurt myself, you know how they say like your life flashes before your eyes? It was kind of that thing, you know? And I just try to do my best just to keep praying and keep my mind on God and that he has a plan for me.
In his prime, Jamie was America's best. able to leap over 6 feet with ease. And jump a personal best of 7 feet 8 inches. That's over a foot taller than he is. But after the injury, he was a man once heralded for his athletic abilities, whose body lay dormant in a hospital bed. At the time, Jamie was dating two-time Olympian for the Jamaican team, Shawn, who was training for her 3rd Olympics. And she dropped everything to be by Jamie's side.
This was going to be one of the biggest challenges that, you know, I've ever faced, and I know that he's ever faced, but it was a challenge that I knew, okay, God, because God doesn't give you anything that you can't face, that you can't handle. And if he put that on this plate, then I was going to step to it.
After surgery, the doctors predicted that Jamie would only regain 30% of his body function. Jamie and Shawn refused to believe that prognosis.
We wouldn't accept that, and we're not accepting that. And we believe that God said, I'm going to make 100% recovery.
But how? Jamie could barely breathe, let alone start to walk.
Everything that I did was work. Everything that I did. Getting up, breathing, drinking, eating. I felt like I was going to die.
After lying in bed for 2 weeks, unable to move, Jamie began rehab.
The doctor came in and he said, or the therapist came in and he said, okay, we're going to stand up today. And in my mind, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, you know, I don't know if I can stand up, you know, but outwardly and out of my mouth, I said, okay.
Shawn sacrificed the rest of her Olympic career to walk with Jamie on this journey. She was going to make sure he saw it through.
I was there to push Jamie, you know, just the athletes as we are, you know, as visualizing. When I remember he tried to move his hands and he couldn't, that visualization and repetition and doing things over and over until we got, you know, little by little, we kept making gains.
Jamie and Shawn are Olympians, a rare breed of competitors who understand that the keys to success begin with the foundation of faith and controlling your thoughts.
I always say pole vaulters and high jumpers, we have to be the most confident on the track, because in our mind, we have to believe that we can clear a bar that we've never cleared before, you know, and then go over there and do it. You know, so yeah, God has blessed me with that talent to be able to do that. And even now, like I said, you know, working with my abilities that I have right now, and as I was learning to walk again, I would visualize and I would see myself walking, and I still do that. See myself running, you know, and doing those things. And I'm gonna keep doing that until they come to pass.
After some time, Jamie and Shawn got engaged and created a goal for Jamie to work towards.
We created a goal that I wanted to walk her down the aisle, you know, and I created that goal, but then she said, okay, well, it's gonna take probably about 150 steps to get out of the, you know, of the church. So I was like, okay, so I gotta start working on my steps. And at this point in time, I was barely trying to take 3 steps, you know, falling, taking 3 steps, you know.
Now with a goal to achieve, Jamie went to work.
So I started working on it, and those 3 steps, after a couple months, turned into 6 steps, and those 6 steps turned into 12, and 12 turned into 25 and 50.
At times when it was challenging, Jamie had thoughts of giving in to his body, but Shawn was there to give him a kick in the pants.
There were many times when, you know, say Jamie couldn't do something and I would see the frustration, him getting frustrated, and I tell him, stop. It's not gonna be easy. This is gonna be hard, remember that. And we push through.
Next thing you know, I'm at 100, you know, and I was like, yo, I did 150 or something like that. She's like, okay, great, now you gotta do 206. And I was like, 206.
Then on July 22nd, 2017, Jamie had reached his goal.
God is great. You know, I was able to go to my wedding and walk my beautiful wife down the aisle, which was an emotional and beautiful time.
Since that day, Jamie continues to improve, and he hasn't allowed his current limitations to slow him down. In fact, he's busier than ever, writing and acting for a couple of TV sitcoms. Shawn has also been busy as a solo recording artist and recently released a single dedicated to Jamie.
The name of the song, I wrote the song, it's called Through the Good and the Bad. It's just basically, you know, the lyrics as far as the verse. You know, it's through the years that we've had together. We built a love that would last.
As Jamie continues to make strides, he and Siobhan are walking full of faith and purpose to shine God's light of hope in every way they can.
I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for God. I know that we would not have the strength. I would not be strong enough to do what I do if it wasn't for the strength that I have in Him, that has placed in me so that I can be there for Jamie. Love conquers all. I believe that when you have love and when we act out of love and caring for others, then anything is possible, not just in our relationship, but also in the world.
As long as you keep God first, anything can happen, you know. Everything will happen within His way. So, and I would say that would be the best thing that anybody could do in their life, you know, and everything will work out.
It is all about vision, how you see it, and that is rooted in faith. Hebrews 11:1 says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." Jamie wanted to walk his wife down the aisle, even though he was in a wheelchair. But he had to believe in faith that he could do it, then visualize himself actually taking the steps. 150 to be exact. Maybe a little more if you ask his wife, Siobhan. But faith in what God can do through you and having the vision to see it in your mind are the foundation to achieving success. We'll be right back, right after this. Well, welcome back. I'd like to thank you for joining us. Hey, in James chapter 2, it says, "What does it profit, my brethren, if someone says he has faith but does not have the works? Can faith save him?" In other words, faith without works is dead. If Jamie Nieto can grind it out every day to reach his goal, you can too. So if you're sitting on the couch waiting for God to move and nothing's happening, it's probably because there's something that you need to be doing. So get it done, because life is short. Go the distance. See you next time.